Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Disco Elysium with me, See What He Saw here. As we're about to go talk to Mr. Clare and let him know we've posted the letter with the 2 forged signatures on it, because we're not going to get real people to sign his rubbish. But I want to open this door, and that's impossible. But we've passed! Guy from... Ahoy! Come on in! You can't be serious. I'm serious. I wanted to know what was in here. Whoa. Trippy. The man stands at the far end of the shipping container. It's hard to say anything more about him. You cannot make out any of his details, but you do feel overwhelming presence of capital. Squint. The light beams bend around his face and scatter in 1,000 directions. It seems the laws of physics do not apply here. They are suspended, distorted, and echo. Trying to visualize the physics at play is liable to give you an aneurysm. Don't think about it too hard. Hello? Welcome! Come in, make yourself at home. Sorry I'm not better able to receive you. I wasn't expecting visitors today. You can't hear him exactly, yet you're able to understand every word he says. It's very strange. An overwhelming hum covers everything. Voice doesn't escape from him. Now, he claps his hands together. What can I do for you, gentlemen? What you can see of his body appears composed in a sharp summer suit and yacht shoes. Who are you? Who am I? Oh, I haven't been asked that question for such a long time. I don't meet a lot of people outside my circle these days. Anyhow, my name is Rustem Diodor, investor, license holder, and extremely high net worth individual. And you are? Mr. Diodor. I am Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi of the RCM, and this is my partner, Harriet Dubois. Pleasure to meet you, Harriet Dubois. Must admit, the name suits you very well. What are you doing in this container? Travelling. This is a great way to get around. It's fun, it's safe, and it gives me lots of time to think. Wouldn't say it's exactly safe now, but financially secure individuals are known adrenaline junkies. By the way, let me ask you a question. Where are we exactly? We're in Revrachol. No, Martinez. Ah, Revrachol. I remember walking streets as a teenager. There used to be a bowling alley in Stel Marie. I wonder if it's still there. It's a shame I can't get out and explore myself. One of the downsides of being an extremely high net worth individual is that mobs of low net worth individuals are constantly banding together to ask for money. Wait, why don't you help them? There simply aren't enough hours a day to hand out all the handouts. It's like feeding seagulls. There are always more, and they never seem to do anything interesting with it. Spending money is a matter of desire. I'm sure you agree. I don't have the desire for spending it like that. So you travel from place to place via shipping containers. Smart, no? It also provides a means to hide from all the targeting advertising we extremely high net worth individuals are constantly subjected to. Luxury yachts, high fidelity portable radio systems, pale-proof outerwear, and so on. It just gets a bit middle class after a while, a bit bourgeois. Ah, so you say being rich? Yeah, that does sound pretty tiresome. Don't get me wrong, they're nice things, but once you achieve a certain level of wealth, your time and mental space becomes much more important than material goods. He speaks from the heart. He has very different problems compared to low net worth individuals, such as yourself. For example, no problems at all. Let me ask you something else. How did you become so rich? The man chuckles. To be perfectly blunt, I inherited my fortune from my grandmother, who herself was an extremely high net worth individual back in Grad. All I did was take her fortune and invest it prudently. Believe it or not, it takes more than a bit of skill not to blow a vast fortune on sailing boats, bad choices and unsupervised state policy. And blow. Actually, at the level this guy is, it takes several generations to do that, but alright. What's it like being a extremely high net worth individual? I gotta tell you, at first being rich is a lot of work. You've got to work hard because everything's so damn expensive. You know, prices increase exponentially at this income level. But then once you've reached my position, it's nearly impossible for me not to make money. My assets are so diversified that I'm bound to come out ahead no matter what. Some of my lower net worth friends say to me, but doesn't that take all the fun out of it? And I tell them, not really. Precisely, Mr. Dubois. You know, I hear people talk sometimes about economic quality and fairness, but tell me, where would we be without liberalism? In caves, whacking each other with bones. That would suck. A nightmare scenario, a world of slavery and violence, which brings us back to the essential truth of modernism. Where are we right now? The freedom of mankind can only be derived from the free flow of capital. Man, being a high net worth individual sounds great. It is, truly. It's almost entirely carefree. Really leaves you time to better yourself spiritually. There's something strange about you. What do you mean? You look somehow a little different. Are you talking about my chin? No. I can't even see you. It's as if something is happening to the light. Oh, that's what you mean. Yes, I've heard of this effect, though I've never witnessed it myself, of course. It has something to do with our Weiss-Wiseman coefficient. The Weiss-Wiseman coefficient is the ratio designed to reflect the difference in net worth between individuals. When the coefficient is close to 1, or 100%, it means one person possesses all the net worth among the group of individuals. It's been observed that when the Weiss-Wiseman coefficient reaches about 0.96 or so, the laws of physics begin to bend around the high net worth individual. So what is our coefficient? Appears to be 0.9998 repeating. That's not good for you. You're so rich that light literally bends around your face. Among other things, but calm down. I am but a lowly single-digit billionaire. Really? No, not really. There are actually quite many digits. Kim, are you seeing this weird stuff? I see nothing of the sort. To be frank, all I see is a gentleman who's unusually well dressed for matinees in a cargo container, which I admit is odd. Yes, I imagine that does look strange to you, my container. You're a rich investor, right? Can I have some money? I don't see how it's appropriate for a representative of the law to ask a wealthy person for money. This shines a bad light on the RCM, if you catch my meaning. I'm not taking a bribe. Come now, there is not even a scent of corruption here. I'm merely being polite, so let me check my pockets. As you may know, as high net worth individuals do not have a lot of cash on hand. Investments and liquidity are enemies of one another. I think I only have coins for coffee machines. There's 3 rail. How much can you get for this? Thank you for your kindness. How's that sound? This is a proposal, not a question. These ultra-liberal types love losing huge sums of money on ludicrous proposals. Ergo, you should come up with a plan that's totally dead in the water. No, thank you. Fail! You should invest in the RCM. You should what? Because it's chronically mismanaged, deeply corrupt, and completely outmatched. Just a minute. The RCM has its difficulties, but generally speaking, you know, that's exactly what I've heard. From what I understand, the RCM is currently constituted is essentially a lost cause. Still, the idea of a privatised police force is extremely forward-thinking. You could even say it's ultra-liberal. Tell me, if you could invest in the RCM, where would you direct your resources? Bigger guns, large caliber motherfuckers that leave exit wounds the size of grapefruits. The latest technological wonders. Take care of the people who protect the people. If I could interject, the RCM's problems are mainly structural. We're hamstrung by lack of clear lines of authority, and our system of performance review strongly disincentivizes inter-precinct cooperation. I think the Lieutenant's right. Your problems run much deeper than equipment or funding. The entire organisational structure of the RCM needs to be redefined. You need a unified chain of command, new metrics for measuring performance that reward real police work. Does that sound right? Yes, that's precisely what we need. So you'll do it? Hell no! Can you imagine how much work that would take? Why would I do that when I can just speculate on exotic financial derivatives from the comfort of this shipping container? The thing about investing is that the less work you have to do, the better. Don't overthink. That's what return on investment means. The Lieutenant's disappointment is palpable. It's like someone just shot his dog. Now, was there anything else I could help you with, gentlemen? We should get back to our investigation. Thank you for your time. It was a real pleasure. Sadly though, my current lifestyle prevents me from remaining more than a brief time in any one place. Perhaps we'll meet again somewhere far away. Farewell, friend, and may your peace of mind guide you to happiness. Probably should take some of these drugs because my morale's getting battered because I keep failing some of these checks and I don't want to get overly battered. There we go. Right, where's Everett? We need to talk to Everett and tell him that I've delivered letters. I'm gonna get my gun back and I'm gonna be pew 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 shooty gun McTafferton. Yeah, finally be able to shoot that little brat. Hey, you!
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes. Now, what can Everett Clare do for you today?
It's done. I mailed the signatures you asked me to mail. Ah, the Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. Of course, I already knew this. My friend, the mailman confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a real future, Harry, and I can feel I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We could talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun. Nothing is off the table. Oh, Bratan, you played the old man like a 3-string banjo. He has no idea. Better not to gloat, sire. 'Tis arrogance that gives the play away. Be subtle. You don't know his full plan. Perhaps he expected trickery. Perhaps the signatures weren't important. The point is, do not think you're in then. Can I get my gun now? Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. You bastard! Your gun is with an old woman, he says, absolutely unperturbed by your outburst. I hear she's a character, so watch out. This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy, the one who described as terrifying. So the gun's still with the woman who bought it from Roy. Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. He smiles, shaking his head in wonderment. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling a gun like that? Wild. Anyway, Union boys are going to help you fix it, he winks at you. Don't worry, Harry. The neighbours of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debardeurs Union. Apparently she was waving it around at the entrance to her building. Waving the gun around doesn't sound good. None of this does. She was waving it around at people? As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details, he smiles. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt. Sounds like a very disturbed and desperate individual. We might be looking at someone with a medical history here. Watch out. Who is this old woman? Unfortunately, I don't know any more. You're going to have to go in blind, Harry, but she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs. There it is again. The Pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all. I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig. A smile flickers in the corner of his mouth. It actually sounds extremely bad, but let's not give him the satisfaction. Can you set up a meeting? I already have. He holds out his index finger. Tonight, starting 22 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast, the one on the Broadwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now he claps his hands. Back to the fun stuff. She will be there from 22 until 0200 hours. More fun stuff. He looks at you. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do. Did you order the hangman killed? I did not, Harry. He shakes his head. Although I am very, very glad he's dead. What do you gain from him being dead? Why, a war, of course. And what do you have to gain from a war? Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We're going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realise there is a war. They're trained military people. Aren't you afraid for your men? Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1. And that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men or 15 men or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them. The fascists hate them. Even the moralists think they're in bad taste. And how is this connected to the strike? Harry, there is no strike. Only war. Class war. In business terms, a dawn raid. Oh, wait. He pauses to rub his chin. Is that what you still pay? Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take it, all of it, for the people and fuck Wild Pines. The word, rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often. So, that's why you haven't let Joyce in. Yes, it's also why I let that midget Gormont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. What? Tits from her arsehole. It's a local saying. Actually, no, it's not. Why are you telling me your plans? Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. We have a significant head start. He looks at the swordfish clock and nods. It's already happening. So how many of you guys are there in the Union? 2,372, he replies like a whip. Plus yours truly, of course. 2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labour organisation in Revachol. And they're all well motivated, at least the ones you've seen. And how are you going to fund your new independent harbour? Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the van? The clients will ditch us, Harry. We thought of everything. Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate. That sounds like... I think that word is spelt wrong. I think that should read a different word that I still would have trouble pronouncing. You can't possibly hope to continue like you have. Clients will leave en masse. Sure, some will go, but mark my words, the company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on. We'll have our hands free to pursue bold, exotic new revenue streams. What kinds of bold, new, exotic revenue streams are we talking about? Haven't you seen the crates outside, Harry? There's all sorts of fun stuff inside them. I mean... Heck, this one has you and the lieutenant, me and the novelty swordfish clock. Did he just deflate slightly? Was there something he wanted you to ask about? Maybe you should come back again if you learn something relevant. Okay, that's it for now. Great, Harry, great. I think we have truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Debadars Union. Suddenly, there's a sadness in his tone. This, he points to you, then himself, has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but do you ever feel like bouncing something off me? My door is always open. Yeah. I would love to smack him about. You know, give him a bit of the cop beat down. You know, make him establish and respect my authority. Right, what we got going on here? Confront the pigs and get your gun back. Right, oh, fair enough. Leveling up. We might say, we need a fort, don't we? We need a fort. Internalize. Yeah. Let's learn about the armour. because the armour could potentially be important. So we'll go talk to Gart on our way back through wicked shipping fleet thingy majiggy bidobby doodah. Give him the bird, the stuffed bird. Tell him that Sylvie does like him and didn't leave because of him. And then we'll go talk to Boat Lady. Oh, we might even swing by and see if Kuno appreciates our painting. What am I saying? Who gives a fuck if Kuno appreciates my painting? Come on, Kim Kitsuragi, keep up, Kim. Like the music. I don't like the fact it keeps getting content claimed whenever I upload a video to the tube of you.
Can I help you?
God, I found a new bird for the whirling. Give him the ruffed grouse. What is this thing? The man takes a stuffed bird. It's no biggie. I just thought it would look cool, nice on the wall. I'm not that kind of cop. What? The interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess. So I don't know. Thank you. I'm going to go with thank you. People don't know how to accept gifts, especially taxidermy. He likes it. He likes the bird. It solves his broken bird problem. This was mostly about fucking cardio. Massive cardio here. You'll live till 90 or you'll get a heart attack from running. I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed birds. It's not actually about that, but he liked it. I talked to Sylvie. She left because of me, not you. Wait, what? But what about the bird? The bird? The bird you brought me a replacement for. She didn't break it, I did. I threw it against the wall, that's why I brought the grouse. You broke the skewer? Arash covers his neck. I assure you it was him. It's as if he can't decide whether to be angry or relieved that it was you, again. Why on earth did you have to break it? It's a mystery. I can't believe it. I was so sure it was Sylvie. Even worse, I thought she was trying to send me a message. Symbol of hope and all. A tender type of hope. Something stirs in you. Perhaps this is why you broke it. That bird ain't no symbol of hope. It's a menace and a traitor. All right, he calms himself. Did she say anything else about me, you know? She said she was flattered. It was just bad timing. Really, the man doesn't know what to say. He wipes his brow and stares at the counter. I should give her a call then. Thanks, I guess. Gives you a short nod. Was there anything else you wanted, or can you give him a moment? Somehow you realise this is not going to net you any professional discounts. Already he's reverting back to the defensive. Be a gun, expensive jewel, at least a sword in it for you. 20 rail for the night. Can I talk to these people again?
Yes? What is it? You
have a blue uniform and mine is black. What does this mean? Means I'm a patrol officer, sir. So she's one of them, like, rookies. You call me sir. Why? Well, I guess I, cut the shit. The words are addressing. Every second you stand here running your mouth, the case grows colder. And what is up
Again, I can't believe this shit.
You know what it is? It's like the two of you know each other. Just tell me the truth. Do you know me from somewhere? Oh, I definitely know you from somewhere. From where? From another life? Yes, from another life, a different life. Maybe the life of a police officer belonging to the ranks of the... He pauses. To what station do you think you would belong in this alternate and totally fictional reality? 41st? Okay. Genuinely excited. That's plausible. That's entirely plausible. Now we're really getting somewhere. He gives you a long, meaningful look and adds somewhere. Good. Let's talk more about the hypothetical station 41 you mentioned. Oh, the hypothetical 4-1. Yeah, let's fantasize about that. He blinks aggressively. I'm not busy, you're not busy. Let's just play around. Do you have a crime to solve? Oh, no. You see, I enjoy watching other better cops solve crimes. And let me tell you, it's been quite a privilege seeing you work. This isn't helping, she says, shaking her head and looking at the man with sunglasses disapprovingly. Who else is in our imaginary police station? You're not going to believe this, but police officers. Yes, sir, solving crimes, locking up the bad guys. Get this, I'm not getting their drink on at 2 o'clock. Just some regular boring, in suits and uniforms, nothing spectacularly extravagant like you, the far-out son of Lung. Who is the far-out son of Lung? Oh, it's you, you eccentric genius. He winks at you sarcastically. I mean, with your unorthodox approach to police work, it has to be you. Okay, want to tell me more about him or her? Not even a little bit. Continue. It's an urban myth about an officer who is so far undercover he can't remember who he is. As I said, just an urban myth. You're not the son of Lung. He's trying to protect you from further rough handling dashed out by this sunglassed man. So what would our relationship be in this alternate universe? Let's be crazy. Let's say you and I are partners. How's that for a thought experiment? Kim's cooler than you. I'm sure he's fucking flattered, but Kim is not part of this thought experiment. In this one, we're partners. The lieutenant is silent. You seem like a bit of a drag. I could do better. None taken, my friend. None taken. Let's be honest, there's been some purely fictional talk in our imaginary station in regards of who'd even be worthy of your partnership. And the conclusion is that a man with your calibre should form his own one-man policing unit. He nods eagerly along. Anyone else would just slow you down. It's probably true, you know. Neither can I. Neither can I. Right then, Kim. Let's go rocking in it. Okay, the man with the sunglasses in his hypothetical station 41. Weird, right? Yeah, I guess it was kind of weird, yes. There's something we're missing here. Something that can't put our finger on, you know? That what? Just ask him. I know it sounds crazy and you'll probably get laughed at, but still. I think the same thing. I should just ask him if we're from the same station. It's probably not true. I will come back and talk to him, no doubt, another time. We've got to get to Boat Lady. And this video's already past the half-an-hour mark. Bloody hell. So much running around talking to people. Ba, ba, ba. Hey, Kuno!
Kuno saw you wield that can! Sweet graffito action, pig! Kuno likes that delinquent shit!
Papa's bad to the bone, Kuno. Rotten to the core. Kuno's pa is, you're just shit at life, he says without malice. Now, what's your case with Kuno? I don't think he's got anything more to tell me. Right, I thought we was going to gain something amazing from talking to Kuno, but apparently he's just a gobshite. I put my trust in him, and now he doesn't want to be friends. I feel let down. La la la. I've got some big ass fucking monkey gloves on. Right, you, bitch lady. Shadows on the water, green plants under the calm surface. A striking woman, Joyce Messier, leans against the cabin top of the sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in a greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold. Like steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice, mischief even. This is a tactic. It happens quicker than a shooting star, but did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears to be helpful. You're on a boat. Why, yes I am. She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Not a lot of people on boats, are there? Of course there are. She looks around. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We're on Lake Caillou. Technically, the neighbouring Ozone and Face Alamer Island groups are archipelagos, while Lake Caillou is, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass. Wait, I thought Lake Caillou was one big island. Okay, she gives you a crooked smile. If you want to get technical, the point is we're all on islands here. And sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another. Still, I haven't seen anyone else in a sailboat around here. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped up Capri Kinimima motor carriage either. Actually, that motor carriage has been a special issue to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour. It's not a toy. Neither is this, the woman pats the cabin hardtop. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands. You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Yes, I do. Going for the kill. Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption of the ruling class? Detective, may I remind you that Miss Messier is a professional negotiator. He doesn't look like he thinks you'll be best. You're best in single combat. Then what does that say? Docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Gazin 33A? Fire back quick. Boom! This house was built before the revolution. Okay, it is anti-centennial. But people who live here now lead a different lifestyle, if you know what I mean. I assure you, they drove quite a hard bargain for this space, but you're quite right. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, lightweight, interminably bourgeois boat. Does the boat have a name? The boat? No, it is called Cordelet 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. The word "it" feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name. Cool. But what kind of boat is it? It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing, though these days I mainly use it for business. Cool, but your boat really needs a name. Okay, how about Cordelet 19? Why? She taps on the side of the boat. It makes a hollow sound. Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Cordelet, and its hull is 19 paces long. How about the sleek fish? Because it's sleek and fish-like. I think I'll stick with the factory name, but thank you. I am enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder investigation. Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do? What we do, I'm afraid, I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking. That was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to So what do they do? The Pines' core competency is logistics, container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. She points to small dots on the horizon. See those airships there blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. Then to the east toward the harbour, and that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms. The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain, himself centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Who are the other Indo-tribes? Saint Baptiste, Lum, and an unknown entity known as the Brightest Star. Why, thank you. How much money does Wild Pines have? I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. Wow. 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid, and then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate A conglomerate the size of wild pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. What can you tell me about the strike? Everything, she smiles, right up to, but not including trade secrets. But what if I want to hear about trade secrets? First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. What's your role in this precisely? I'm an official senior labour negotiator. She can make decisions. And how are the talks going? They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago after that awful lynching took place. Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a racist behemoth blocking the gates. Oh, you mean Measurehead? Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. She leans back and rolls her eyes. So the strike is connected to the lynching? Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later. How were the talks going before the lynching? Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived. And when did you first arrive? I arrived 3 weeks ago, she thinks. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM. But the strike began in December. I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont, despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations. This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike. Heavens no, there have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won. Significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. Ludicrous, even, it's meant. What happened to this Gaumont? Mr. Clare told him to, how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Not cool. What are their demands? There are leaflets everywhere and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker a member of the board. Seems like they have no idea about business. Most of them probably don't know what that means. Fortunately explained it, every time the Wild Pines Group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. So I hoped. And now people are getting lynched, I hear, behind the whirling and rags. A disastrous situation if ever there was one. Excuse me, the lieutenant looks up from his notes. From whom did you hear about this lynching? The reply comes quick. I first heard it from the boy at the gates, the one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was call me Mananana. This checks out. What do you think of Everart? Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interest of his workers first. She's being sarcastic. That's not what you really think, right? Of course not. Everard is a fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, vicious goo where you and I have blood. If you were to prick him with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe. No, a rapier. You sound like you're about to take a rapier to him. Oh, heavens no, he gets along just fine. It's twin brother Edgar. I remember hearing something about this Edgar. No. Except for that lazy eye. It's... The Debardars Union was once a perfectly normal institution 20 years ago. Anyway, it must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. She's just a hair. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brother Claire came and transformed it into a... How do you say? A mob, Lieutenant. The Debardars are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them. Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debardars Union is... a socialist mob? Thank you for being candid. You said something happened in the elections. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union disappeared. Yes, on the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore or coming to work ever. End of story. This forewoman, her name? Sadly, the company records do not give a name. She's just forewoman. In private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a cert or given name, and I don't have access to union files. Some kind of extortion, probably. Indeed, the company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when dealing with him. Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We will be just fine. Do you know something about these tattoos? That's the man who was killed. Fine, let's return to it later. Better not to tie the forestated the backstory on this. I hope there's something else I can help you with. What can you tell me about the List lynching? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something. Worry lines crease her forehead, but it's more than worry. In her eyes, a hint of, is that guilt? The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers. Of course, ma'am, we should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. I am Lieutenant W. Frita Harrier Dubois from Precinct 41. Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant. She's memorising your badge number. It is a relief to see a W. Frita here. The situation is precarious to say the least. It needs a quick solution, or we will have a bloodbath on our hands. What was that about, a bloodbath? Yes, I'm afraid the strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with the possible consequences for all of Revachol West. Since you're sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario. Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. Tell me again, how are the lynching and strike connected? I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. A momentary lapse of faith? They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer. Every worker. A member of the board. She nods. I tried to convince my employer it was simply an opening gambit, like you suggested, or a joke even. They did not appreciate the humour. Do you need a security detail? Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering. Who are they exactly? Krenel, an Orangese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armour, have semi-automatic weapons and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder, get it right. TSD. So what happened? The story is one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. What then? Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I've not been able to discuss the matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Krenel contractors carry out their orders for now. For now? It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow. What is the nature of this so-called investigation? Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants? It'll be all of them. The decision is already made. Investigation upon investigation here in Martinez, racing towards some dark deadline. If you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond. The Debadars have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1. Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty. The Ceres giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours. These men work in tandem using semi and fully automatic firearms. Their armour is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes. She's silent for a moment, then concludes, as I said, a bloodbath. Maybe a good bloodletting is just what the Martinez needs. Houses drenched in red, blood gushing down Rue de Saint Casper, the whole place mopped with a giant red flag. I think the confrontation is inevitable. Have to be like this. What can you tell me about Krenel? Not much. Their public resume is relatively good. As far as private military contractors go, I believe they were once called Downwell. Down a deep black well. They boast a long list of clients: Saint Baptiste, Welchman Lawrence, Endracht, meaning they're used to operating in the war zones. Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, map? Couldn't you contact the company and tell them to call them off? He said the deceased assaulted a woman. Or he didn't. This information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. Who did the pass it on then? The remaining contractors, their tribunal. What did these teenagers by the canal say? That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez. This does not come as news to, but still, to your knowledge, where did this assault took place, if you know? Last Sunday night at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. I know the woman you're talking about. We have it under control. This colonel, the one who was hanged, did you know him? If you mean, did I see him alive? Yes, but I did not know him. You liked him. Liked is a bit strong. He was the most charismatic among them. He handled all the talking. His departure left a major gap in the group's communication skills. His name was Lely. His service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name, only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One man, Corty they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner. I believe DePaul is a radio operator. What would you say was his eye colour, the deceased's? She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head. I can't remember. There's a pang of regret to her voice. That's alright, ma'am. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age? He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions. Indeed, this matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent? He was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Orangese or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanising. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. Where are the two remaining mercs now? They're gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes, ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. Vigilantes? You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol. We still need to know where they are. Where are these mercenaries? One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates, the one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. One must be the goon in the ill-fitting work clothes by the harbour gates, the scab leader. That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest. For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gates is a powder keg. Does this not bother you? Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant, but my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union? Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace. How much time do we have? Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress. Identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience. They don't report their progress to you? Not on this matter, I'm afraid. They consider this a personal initiative. There is a brief silence. Seagulls squawk over the bay. 5 days, not more, maybe sooner. That's enough for now. Conclude. Now, can you tell me about these tattoos? Of course, excuse my hesitation before. It is taken with a Interrogate not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs. Observe the woman's expression. What do you think? Sorry, I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points, the stars. She points to one on the photo paper. I can't, but that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and the distance from each other tells you what they represent, like blooms in a pattern. Close, port cities. This is an orangey map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the DeLorean century over 300 years ago. The sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. What is the use of this map? The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by the silver cord, they would call it. Where is he now? What travels did the dead men make? Quite a few. Vrida Fort, the Orangi capital, traditionally stand on the right shoulder. What's next? Then he made his way to Preto Grande, Stans Canal, Revachol. You said you can't read it. I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. Maybe it's a record of his military career. Oh wait, I've talked to Everett Clare. How do you like Mr. Clare? He's a blatant rainbow socialist. The The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy. I hope you understand. The RCM does not pick sides. Share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt worm myself. She turns to you. However, you felt like discussing something. How could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. The ploy to get you talking, the honey-mouthed syllables. Right, I think I'm done talking to her for now. I do. I guess I do, yeah. Still wants me to do drugs. System is broken. Taxes, man. Right, done with that. Right. We have reached the end of another episode. I guess what we do next, as it's 6 o'clock at night, we need to maybe go and think about getting my gun. We need to talk to the assault victim. We can get that tomorrow. So we've got a bit to do. I've still got some perk points. I'm going to just hang on to them for the time being. We're currently working on the armour problem, which is good. So all in all, another good episode. I've been See What Are You So. Thank you for watching. Be sure to join me again in the next episode of Disco Elysium. Goodbye for now.